In 2002, Real Madrid won the European Cup for a record 9th time. In the decades since, one manager has dominated European football. Few Real fans would have imagined they would still be awaiting their coveted 10th European crown. Nobody would have foreseen the rise and rise of Jose Mourinho, except perhaps the man himself.
Please don't call me arrogant.
Bloody hell. Come to England and see he's a special one.
His philosophy
We cannot lose.
is winning.
Box office.
I did an answer to Mr. Mourinho.
Mind games? This was a game of football, come on.
No other manager would do this.
For sure the most successful manager in the game.
He's a greedy bugger.
Let's go. Good to see you. How are you? Very good. Difficult questions, easy questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This is the 10th season since you arrived in European football. Much has changed in your life since then. Have you changed?
You know, I have more titles. I have more money. I have even more desire to win than I had before. That's my nature. I want to do things well. I want to show my people that in life you have to have ambitions till the end of it. So I try to learn every day. I try to be better every day. And I have exactly the same or more ambition than I had before.
He's won 2 European trophies, won UEFA, he's won the leagues, he's done it all. So there's absolutely no weakness there. There's no area in which you say, what, is he weak? Is he weak at something?
Yeah, I can remember meeting Jose for the first time. It was when I flew into Lisbon to take up my job with Sporting Lisbon. I was met at the airport by the president of Sporting, who couldn't speak a word of English. I couldn't speak a word of Portuguese. And he brought along a bright young lad called Jose Mourinho, who said who he was, what he was, and that he was to be my interpreter. Remate, boa defesa. Bom pass, Rui Barras, segundo goal, jogo acabou. Good-looking guy. Told him not to stand next to me too many times. I knew he was keen, and I knew at one time he would leave me. But I didn't at the time think, you know, that he would become a great.
Porto was a team of kids where the coach was also a kid. 75% of the players were Portuguese, and the coach was somebody that nobody knows in Europe.
It changed the way that Porto behaved and Portuguese football behaved, because it was something completely different to what was installed before. And I think Portuguese football, you know, has a tremendous depth towards what he left over there.
When I arrived, I told him the first day that we are going to be champions. I could feel that with our quality, we could dominate.
I have to say that at this moment, if I am sitting here, it was because you know, Jose changed the legacy of Portuguese football.
In 2 seasons, Mourinho turned Porto into not simply the best club in Portugal, but Europe's dominant force. Their methods did not amuse everybody.
Well, it's just a diving to do. I mean, they do.
In 2004, management's most precocious talent faced the most formidable opponent.
And a little spat with him at the end of the game, because I thought that the goalkeeper dived when Roy Keane got sent off. I've seen it before from this team, and it's not acceptable. And I said that to him, and he looked at me as if I had horns in my head.
I don't think it's fair, really. I don't think it's fair.
When I saw the video replay, I was really totally wrong because Roy definitely done the goalkeeper.
It's not true that the Portuguese player is an actor.
So what is the problem? A cultural problem?
A result problem, I think. We play without the pressure. We play without the responsibility. Tonight we sleep with some dreams.
If the two managers have their differences, it's maybe because they are very different men.
Manchester United appeared to have solved their problem until the second minute of added time.
Now or never for Porto. It's been turned in by Costinha.
A pivotal moment in Mourinho's career, followed by the first defining image.
Jose Mourinho may well have the last word.
When they came to Old Trafford and knocked us out in his celebration, it's an impact on your team. You know, you saw the celebration, they all rushed to that corner flag that night.
The players are heroes. They were not afraid of this wonderful atmosphere. And I think we deserve it.
I congratulated them after the game, and since then we've gone very well.
And Sir Alex Ferguson?
He only told me congratulations, and for me it's enough.
3 months later, Porto would win the most one-sided Champions League final of the decade.
He will come to England as the manager of the European champions.
Roman Abramovich had seen something he rather liked.
It's the time for people to stop to speak about my past and to start to speaking about my recent past, because I did what almost nobody did it. Please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true.
I remember his first press conference, and I says, "This is a cocky bugger, him."
I'm European champion, so I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
Box office.
He was telling the players, "Look, I'm the special one. We don't lose games."
What's Jose Mourinho's one biggest strength?
Charisma.
I went through many experiences in football in difficult atmospheres. I never found cannibals in the stands, only noisy people. Cannibals eating players I never saw, but I saw a stadium where the crowd scored a goal.
In the soccer tribe, what would Jose Mourinho be?
He'd be a witch doctor. Because managers have to work magic. All their influence has to be through their personality, through their knowledge, their skill, but above all through their charisma.
I would compare Mourinho's impact on English society, if you like, with Brian Clough.
Good managers make good sides.
I haven't seen anything like it since Brian Clough.
There's no such thing as a side making a manager.
I have to defend what is mine. And the Champions League is mine.
We all like to be liked, and yet show me somebody who's liked by everybody, and I'll show you somebody who's wrong.
Why should I comment John Cruyff? Who is John Cruyff in this game?
When you listen to him giving an interview, you realize that here is a man who is thoughtful, but fearless.
I think it's time to stop to criticize Bolton for playing direct football.
Why?
Because Liverpool play more direct than Bolton.
He speaks as he feels, and he makes comments that other managers wouldn't dare to make.
I wouldn't change the squad, and I wouldn't change the journalists in the press.
When he was dying, Brian Clough said, "I rather like this Mourinho. He's a good-looking chap. He takes after me."
We have top players, and I'm sorry, I'm a bit arrogant. We have a top manager.
And confidence he gave to them about him in his first press conference, because they must have been sitting saying, "Bloody hell, you know, come to England as only a young man and saying he's a special one." But what I think it did was it told all the players that he had the belief they was going to win the league.
Chelsea was so fun. Incredible players, incredible way of life, the place where I enjoy more, live socially, and at the same time work in football.
He made a difference to all of our careers that he came across at Chelsea, you know, because he showed us a different way. He brought the mindset that every game was important, not just the big one. Every game was important. If you wanted to be champions, you had to pick up the points every week.
It was the year the Kings Road Entertainers morphed into a European super club. Ruthless and stylish, Mourinho's Chelsea dominated the Premier League, breaking records for games won and goals scored.
There was this sort of myth blown up that Chelsea just defended and were hard-working and ground the opposition down, but that wasn't true.
No, tell me, in England, which team plays better than Chelsea? Arsenal?
They might get more
better
critical
than us,
acclaim sometimes.
Yeah.
They might get more critical
10 points
acclaim.
behind. 10 points behind.
If it was a physical game, we could stand up to the opposition. If it was an open, entertaining game, we had the players who could win that type of game as well. And they found a way to win. That was the secret and the strength of that Chelsea team.
No, at that time I was saying I was special because I was European champions 2 days before that. So I arrived here with my ego. No, it's even higher. I never run away from responsibility. I never run away from pressure. The best thing for the players is to feel that the manager is capable of hold that pressure and that responsibility, and leave the players with more freedom to express themselves.
Is he prepared to do almost anything to win?
He is, yeah. I think he'll push as far as he can if he thinks it's the right thing for him and his team.
When Jose Mourinho walks into a press conference, he makes Machiavelli look like a beginner.
Frank Rijkaard, history as a player cannot be compared with my history, because his history is fantastic and my history is zero.
The science of destabilizing your opponent is central to just about everything he does.
My history as a manager cannot be compared as Frank Rijkaard's history, because he has 0 titles and I have a lot of them.
In February 2005, Jose Mourinho returned to Barcelona, the club he'd served for 5 years. Barcelona's huge media entourage swarmed around him. Most still referred to him as the translator.
He's come out early. This is a movie star acting in a relaxed way at a time when he cannot be relaxed. The essence of what he's doing here is establishing that he is completely at home, unfazed by anything, completely relaxed. There's no problem. His team are obviously going to win, and that is part of the strategy of what he's doing.
Mourinho's players were suitably inspired. Until Didier Drogba was sent off early in the second half by referee Anders Frisk. Not for the last time, Mourinho would have to combat Barcelona with 10 men. Frank Rijkaard's side recovered to hold a 2-1 lead for the return leg. But the real story of the night was about to break.
We will be submitting an official report to UEFA about an incident that occurred at half-time.
I saw something happen in the tunnel that I thought was wrong, and I reported it.
There's a rumour, Frank, that the referee Anders Frisk and you talked at half-time.
It isn't true. And if people are creating these rumours, then almost, I want to say, that's not the correct attitude after a game.
Obviously, I haven't spoken about it much since. I was the person who saw Mr. Rijkaard go towards the dressing room area.
It was part of a strategy to do 2 things, to destabilise Barcelona and to build the stockade mentality within Chelsea.
The only mistake I made was that When he disappeared from my view, I thought he was in the referee's dressing room, but I think there's a little corridor about 3 yards before you actually get to the referee's dressing room. I just reported honestly what I saw.
I don't know what he's doing in England. If he is doing mind games, so be it, but this was a game of football, come on.
Anders Frisk received death threats. UEFA's head of referees condemned Mourinho.
The enemy of football.
Chelsea were found guilty by UEFA of bringing the game into disrepute, and Mourinho was banned for 2 games. By then, Frisk had decided never to referee again.
Chelsea are through! Can anyone stop Jose Mourinho now?
And Mourinho had enjoyed the greatest European night of his Chelsea career.
I think that everyone has his form of motivating his team. But if you are accusing people who are working seriously and honestly, I think that's a bad thing. So he has to get it back.
He has upset a lot of people with his confrontational style, with his abrasiveness. Do you feel sometimes he's ever overstepped the mark with that?
I don't think you can change what you are. I think what you are, you are. So there's no point in changing that. And if he's got that abrasive tone to his management style, it's only helped the teams he's managed.
The most difficult thing we did, in my opinion, prove to ourselves and show Barcelona we can be better than them.
I needed him on the pitch every day. He had an opinion, even in his deliberations with me, and when we were talking about the game and our tactical substitutions and things like that. He was intelligent and a student of the game.
He did his groundwork. He did his time as coach, assistant to Bobby, assistant to Van Gaal, and then he made the decision to step out on his own. And since then, it's proved to be a hell of a decision.
It was also a risk. Mourinho was giving up a well-paid job at Barcelona, and his failed playing career would open no doors. But he'd been studying to be a manager for 15 years, passing exams and collating information. The out-of-work coach spent the summer of 2000 transforming his notes into his own Bible, rewriting the rules of engagement for the 21st century coach.
He was a person coming out of a completely different education. Changed the way people trained, changed the way people spoke about the game.
He had that confidence, he had that superiority. I used to send him sometimes on missions, scouting missions. He brought back the best tactical and appreciation of how our opponents played that I've seen.
His attention to detail is meticulous. He couldn't give enough information to his players. His training sessions were detailed and they moved quickly, didn't allow the players to get bored.
Mourinho scientifically devised a training method. In his 2 prime seasons at Chelsea, they were out of the blocks like Usain Bolt. And that doesn't happen by accident.
I thought it was all in the hop. In the first 2 years, exactly that's what happened. And we were playing catch-up all the time.
Jose hits the ground running. It's extraordinary. He always wins trophies. He is remarkable, and that places so much pressure on other coaches, because if they plead for time, their chairman can look at them and say, well, look at Mr. Mourinho.
You must work hard and well, because many people work hard and not well.
I spend most of the time on the laptop doing the reports. So, for this gentleman here, so I think he has to be satisfied with the work, so I try to do it the better way I can.
His football knowledge was so tremendous that he was able to inspire all kinds of managers, to succeed the way he was succeeding.
I was doing a very nice interview, and now they're trying to cut my jaw.
After that, the last defensive block is the 3 attackers against the 4 defenders.
I never saw his Bible, but I'm sure that he had prepared some kind of dossier or some kind of document that would be the blueprint for him to move forward.
So defensively, it's easy to analyze, it's easy to control, and you cannot concede goals playing playing this way.
I'm sure now, 10 years down the line, it's much changed from his original document, because if you don't evolve as a coach, you get left behind. Quality is important. Quality of work, quality of leadership, quality in the relation with the players. I think it's about quality and about results. Managers who get results are the good ones. I'm not putting pressure on you about we have to win. I don't want to put that kind of pressure, but we cannot lose. We cannot lose.
If one club was kryptonite to Chelsea's Superman, it was Liverpool.
Gerrard with space, helped in towards Barros, he's beaten Jack through it.
They didn't score.
The goalkeeper made contact, Luis Garcia wanted across the line, goal!
I will say this for all my life. There are certain highlights of your career that you never forget. So I never forget the goal nobody saw.
The serene capture of 2 Premier League titles had exposed the one glaring failure to secure Europe's biggest prize.
I think it's better Spanish questions because they care about the game.
And an increasing sourness had begun to replace the sparkle. Are you up against the best coach in the world?
He's one of the best, sure. He has a very good team, sure. But they will lose tomorrow.
Rafa Benitez was right.
And just what that will mean for Jose Mourinho, the headline writers will tell us soon enough.
Mourinho would complete his domestic trophy collection with the FA Cup, but the end of his English affair had almost been reached.
There's no doubt about it that he found the cluttered hierarchy of the club impossible to work with. I think he got the impression that the players were beginning to get a bit iffy. I think that was when he realised that, it was all over.
Jose Mourinho pulled away from Chelsea's training ground for the last time this morning.
What did change over the last week, 10 days, few days, is that through discussions with Jose, through discussions with the club, then it became apparent that that was the right decision.
It was a bitter disappointment that Jose left when he did. I think there was still work for Jose and all of us to do to try and move the club forward a little bit. But sometimes the love runs out.
The fans are upset. Your players were crying yesterday when you.
And I was crying too. And I was crying too. So that's not the point.
But you still had to go.
Yes. Italy, I cannot say fun. It's difficult. It's really difficult, and every match is very tactical, and every match is a huge challenge to a coach. So to go there and to do what nobody did in the history of Italian football, which was win the treble, is something I cannot forget.
Why did you appoint Jose Mourinho?
Because Mourinho, the character, I liked a lot the character of Mourinho, and of course the results. From the beginning, I consider Mourinho special.
It shouldn't be understated, the ability to take a team out of Serie A at that time, when it was probably at the lowest ebb ever. And he came along and he created this team that could go anywhere.
The Italian establishment did not like Jose Mourinho.
Of course, because they lose.
He's broken the system.
He's broken the system, but also because Inter wins, and that is something not really acceptable.
It all peaked one tempestuous night at the San Siro, with a gesture that spoke volumes more than any Mourinho soundbite. The Italian Referees Union threatened to go on strike, before Mourinho was banned for 3 games.
What is it about Mourinho's character that seems prepared to overstep a mark others wouldn't?
It's Barcelona. If you subtract from Mourinho's dark side incidents involving Barcelona, he's only grey at worst.
We had to face again the situation of play against them with 10 players.
I think you could get the finest psychologist from Oxford University and get him or her to analyse Jose Mourinho's extraordinary relationship with Barcelona Football Club.
Barcelona wants to be the best team on the pitch. Chelsea wants to be the best team on the pitch. I hope the referee wants to be the best team on the pitch.
He perceives that, you know, they look down on him. So I'm sure there is an element of wanting to prove his former paymasters wrong.
I always believe in success, and the reason why I left was because I believe I could have a good future as a manager.
When Jose Mourinho was a translator here, did you see him becoming the great manager he is today?
No. I had to say that if in that time I would see this talent, I would go to the president and say, "Oh, keep going here because this guy is good."
In fact, 6 months after he left Chelsea, Mourinho held talks about becoming the next manager of Barcelona. He made a brilliant presentation to Barcelona's then sporting director, Txiki Begiristain.
He thought that he could be the Barcelona manager. He kind of approached Barcelona if there was a possibility. And I think all that built up in him. And obviously, whenever he plays against Barcelona, he probably thinks he has to prove himself.
Mourinho's refusal to soften his abrasive style was the stumbling block. Instead, Barcelona would appoint a man fully ingrained in their more-than-a-club tradition.
Thank you, sir. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
2 years later, Mourinho and Guardiola faced each other as managers in the last 4 of the Champions League.
The semi-final tilts Mourinho's way.
Mourinho's Inter had won the first leg 3-1.
We have the dream to play the Champions League final. For Barcelona, it's not a dream. It's an obsession. There is a difference between a dream and an obsession. A dream is more pure than obsession. A dream is about pride. For them, this is an obsession, and the obsession is called Madrid and Santiago Bernabéu. Most of the teams, they don't know how to play against Barcelona. To play against a big team like Barcelona, you have to know exactly the qualities they have and exactly what you have to do.
His philosophy is that you may have to play against a team who are better than you, but you have to find a way to win the game. And sometimes you have to accept that you're playing against a better team. Yes, better team, but not meaning the winning team.
When Thiago Motta saw the red card, Barcelona dugout was celebrating like a goal. I felt in that moment they were feeling the job is done. And I went there while Pepe was speaking with Ibra to say, you think it is over, but it's far from over. Maybe to motivate myself, maybe to tell them it's not like we think it's going to be. To play against Barcelona for an hour with 10 players in a Champions League semi-final in a stadium where 100,000 people was playing was an incredible achievement for us. We did it, in my opinion, a brilliant way.
Inter Milan will go to Madrid, and Jose Mourinho's moment has come again. Barcelona have mocked him, now they fall to him.
Once upon a time they called you the translator here, but is this one of your proudest moments as a manager?
Yes. Is
the most proud?
Yes. Yes. I won UEFA Cup final, I won Champions League final. I won big matches, I had great moments in my career. This one is the best one.
Jose Mourinho talked about Barcelona having this obsession to go to Madrid and that maybe that would undermine Barcelona. Was he correct?
No, I didn't answer to Mr. Mourinho.
What about the way that the sprinklers came on at the end? Did you see that when your players were celebrating? Barcelona put the sprinklers on. They got a bit wet.
But to clean our blood, because they left the skin, so we needed some water to clean the blood. My players left blood on the pitch.
You can't help laughing sometimes when he's grappling with the goalkeeper of the opposing team and they start to struggle and it gets a little bit ugly. Mourinho is the only football manager who celebrates a goal or a win in exactly the same style as his players. I've seen him skid onto the pitch on his knees. I've seen him leap onto another player's back, and that makes him one of the team, makes him the leader of the game.
We said before the game, we go goal down, nothing changes now. We need to...
I think he's quite pleased, isn't he, with that?
He is happy. He wasn't happy at half time, but, you know, he's much happier now.
Testimony to his work is always players want to play for him. We all know it's a result industry, but it can be made easier by players who commit themselves to you as a coach. And I think Jose's got that rapport with all his players.
To be a technically good coach is one thing, but what gives you the extra effectiveness is if the players love you. And love is not too strong a word.
I would never think a guy who hadn't played a game could be a top coach. But then you've got to look at his personality. I think his personality does it. He's got a marvellous, strong personality, and I think that bridges that gap.
My friend Louis van Gaal says, you wouldn't do the same as I did. He can't do because he's too slow. He can't run the way I can. I'm fast like a lion.
I remember at Inter, I wasn't sometimes part of the start 11, but he's always find a time to talk. If every single players put the team before themselves, they will be successful, and I think that is the strength of Jose Mourinho.
You must create a good leadership with the players, which is an accepted leadership, not the leadership by power, not the leadership by status. Make everybody feel part of a group, and I'm one of them.
Why should one man be able to change the mentality of a whole team?
Because he wins. He convinced the player that match by match we were better and better.
Now Snyder, back into Milito. Chance for Inter Milan. Milito!
Don't forget, English and Italian soccer, they've been competing in European trophies for many, 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 many years.
Diego Milito, fantastic run. Oh, wonderful goal.
But no one's ever won a treble, either of these countries, until Inter did it and we did it.
The last minute when you feel you are European champions, the joy of the players, of the fans, of the president, being this match, the last one with Inter Milan, is even more emotional.
History for Inter Milan, the first Italian treble winners.
What's he doing? This is a man who is no longer acting. I know he knows there's a camera there, but there's something about this that is movingly genuine. His bond with his players is extraordinarily emotional, and it works both ways. They feel a love for him that I've not heard expressed about any other managers.
I was crying because I was saying goodbye. Lots of players, the last part of their career, probably with the last chance or one of the last chances to win that competition. It was an incredible night for me, probably one of my best nights in football. I think it's the best way to leave a team and to leave a job is to live that way. Win the Champions League and leave.
Jose Mourinho was named FIFA Coach of the Year for 2010. UEFA awarded him nothing.
I arrived in Real Madrid after 10 years of being manager in top clubs in top countries. And after my great experience in England and in Italy was the kind of challenge and the kind of club that I dream with, yes.
The first thing to be said is it gave him a chance to have a go at Barcelona, to borrow a phrase, to knock them off their perch.
They have gone for this Galactical thing. It seems to be an important part of how they view their club. I don't think that sits well with Jose. You know, I think he prefers his own work ethic to be the shining light of the club.
The objective is not to coach Real Madrid. The objective is to win with Real Madrid. I want my players to think the objective is not to play for Real Madrid. The objective is to win, especially against Barcelona, that is an incredible football team.
Mourinho's first El Clasico brought a 5-0 humiliation, his worst defeat as a manager. Barcelona were heading for another Spanish title and another Champions League, unless Mourinho could inspire another semi-final upset.
If he continues to say Pep, I would say, hey, Jose.
The mind games worked their magic.
En esta sala, él es el jefe, el amo, es el que más sabe del mundo. Yo no quiero ni competir ni un instante. It's the first time I say Pep. If I say Pep, I say Jose.
But on the pitch, the meltdown belonged to Madrid.
He lost it.
He sent him off.
Completely.
Mourinho's been sent off as a result of his conversation with the German officials.
To play in your own half when you're Real Madrid is crazy.
Here's Messi. Away from 2, 3, 4. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And then he comes out and compounds it by making possibly his most ludicrous allegation of all time, is that there's a conspiracy between Barcelona and the UEFA to make Barcelona win the Champions League every year.
Real Madrid has always been this club that has been a gentleman, has been always seen as the example club in Spain and also in Europe. And he kind of disagreed with this behavior. He thought he was the one making the rules, and a lot of supporters didn't like that.
When you live on the edge like Jose does, at times he does live on the edge, and sometimes you go too far over the line.
I don't think it bothers Jose that. I don't think it would worry him. The thing is, he's in the result industry, he knows that. It's results that count.
In April 2012, a Mourinho team won at the Nou Camp for the first time. Real had outclassed their rivals, breaking records for points, goals and away wins. Jose Mourinho became the first manager in history to win league titles in England, Italy and Spain.
He's basically said, this is our 11, that's your 11, we'll play you at football and see who wins, and it's working much better.
It has got the Galacticos, but it's not overloaded with them, and there is a work ethic there that transcends itself to a successful team. And I don't think Real Madrid have always had that in the last 15 years.
Hello.
What's your biggest strength?
I think it's love for family. That's the engine of everything. Everything I do is for them. After that, I'm Catholic. I believe in him. I try to be a good man, so he can have a little bit of time to give me a hand when I need.
When you hear him talking like that, you realise that this is a man with a very complex brain, a man whose complexity makes him exciting.
What about the way that the sprinklers came on at the end? Did you see that when your players were
Interesting.
celebrating Barcelona put the sprinklers
He's thinking very hard.
To clean our blood.
He never relaxes during these interviews. His eyes are doing these lateral movements. His whole life somehow comes to a peak at these moments.
Blood on the pitch.
Is Jose Mourinho the manager as opposed to Jose Mourinho the person? And they are two different people.
I never found him arrogant.
He came in with a personality, and it was just a personality.
I think he's very self-confident. He has a lot of self-belief.
Nobody asked me my team. Do you want to know my team tomorrow? So why don't you ask me?
What's your team tomorrow?
It's too late. I'm sorry.
The boasting of Mourinho, I'm the special one, is a kind of joke. It's not to be taken seriously, and anybody who does take it seriously is missing the point.
Why do you think Chelsea have suffered so much since you left Stamford Bridge?
Because I left Stamford Bridge. No, I'm joking.
Is the man you share a glass of wine with after the game the same man as the one...
No. It's definitely not. There's a definite difference there. I mean, when he comes into my office and he can take a joke against himself, that's what I like about him. You know, I give him a lot of stick, you know. I give him plenty of stick. And he laughs it off, you know. No, he's got a good personality for that kind of thing.
If you ask my wife or my kids if I'm the bad guy or the good guy, they will say I'm the number one guy in the world. I agree. Everything was very, very, very fast for me, but I can cope with that. I don't change because of that success.
What keeps you awake at night?
Nothing. I sleep perfect.
Last month, Jose Mourinho returned to the city where he made his first iconic impression on English football. Manchester City hosted Real Madrid on a relatively understated night for the manager. Real advanced from the Champions League group stage to move one step closer to ending that wait for a 10th European Cup. The next challenge for Jose Mourinho. Yes or no, is your career incomplete if you don't win the Champions League for Real Madrid?
My career is always incomplete, and nobody puts pressure on me because I put pressure on myself.
There is no club bigger than Real Madrid, and European football matters so much to Jose Mourinho. He must, of course, win the Champions League with Real Madrid. In fact, if he doesn't, it'll be a black mark.
A failure?
Yes. Yes.
If Jose continues the route that he's taking at this time, he will continue to win. He will continue to win in different countries, and he will continue to win the major competitions in the world.
Yes or no, will you manage in England again?
For sure. For sure. In my whole career, everything was perfect. The only thing I didn't, and I hope I can do it one day, is to win a Champions League for an English club.
He says he will come back to England and manage. Can you imagine him one day managing at this club?
He can manage anywhere, absolutely. I'm not going to put any forecasts of what's going to happen at this club. I'll not last forever, that's for sure. And but Jose can manage anywhere, there's no question about that.
I'm proud of him, I really am. I see him with great pride. He's climbed up the steps of the ladder and he's on the top notch, and good luck to Jose.
You've won 48 trophies, I'll just remind you.
Is that all?
Jose Mourinho has won 21 trophies, 7 titles, 2 Champions Leagues and 1 UEFA Cup in essentially the best part of a decade.
10 in a decade, it's incredible that. How old is he now? He's what?
He is in his 50th year.
50th year. So he's 20 years behind me. In that 20 years, he could, if he, in the same rate, he's going to add another 42 trophies.
At the current rate?
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
If I stop now my career, I can say, oh yeah, in 10 years I did this, and this. but I want to carry on. I don't wanna stop.
Mourinho will just get better and better and better as long as his brain gives out and his ego remains under control. Coaches get better and better. Ferguson's your perfect example.
I don't think he'll manage until he's 70 away.
He's told us that he wants to go on for another 15 years.
65. Yeah. Well, in that case, he would have 50 odd trophies. He's a greedy bugger.
I think he will be extremely driven to win the World Cup for his country, and you know, when that happens, when statistically, you know, he's the best manager that has ever been, then I think he will finally leave the game.
That's what he wants to be, remembered as the best ever coach.
He's on track for that, isn't he? There's no doubt about that.
The point is give everything, and that's what I do in every club, that's what I do every day, and that's what I will do till the end of my career. And because the end of my career is very, very far, I hope God give me strength and health. I'm not afraid to fail, I'm not afraid to lose. I want to be the best tomorrow. After tomorrow is another day.
Never look back.
Nah. Memories, very nice memories.